Assalamu alaikum. I literally just finished my first of 3, but I wanted to share this experience with whoever's been following my journey because it's the first time that I've ever had my assigned patient code, and it's way different when it's your actual patient. And I'm very grateful that my first code that I assisted in wasn't like my patient's. I've been a nurse for 3 years now, and I've assisted in many codes, and luckily I had some pretty good experience before it was my actual patient's code. There were some things that I would definitely improve on. As always, I feel like among other nurses, we are our own worst critic. I'm glad that I didn't cry, and I'm glad that I'm not making this video like within the days following, because I probably would have been just filming myself crying, because I can be very hard on myself. Even though I've been a nurse for 3 years, I left adult ICU and then I came back, so some things I'm not quick to respond with. I did have like a list of things that I'm proud of myself on, and a list of things that I know I could have either improved on or things that I do want to work on. And I put a post on Instagram because I wanted to share with the people that I do have some other nurses on my Instagram, and I just wanted to share the overall experience that I had, because I feel like it could benefit other nurses, whether you're a new grad or if you're like me, you've been a nurse for a few years and things are clicking, but it's still like taking you a little bit to respond a little bit faster. So the things that I was proud of, I said, first and foremost, I was very grateful for my charge nurse that I had that night and for my coworkers. We also got ROSC as well, so alhamdulillah for that. I said I'm also proud that I didn't cry in front of everybody. And then I also said that my charting was done by 7:05, so even though we had that event, like I still wasn't stuck at the end of the day like charting. I said overall I felt clueless and inexperienced, and here's why. It was my first time cracking open the code cart. Yeah, so I've never cracked open the code cart in the 3 years that I've been a nurse and the 4 years that I've been working in a hospital. So I was like, I know it's locked, I know it has like some kind of like, what is it called? There is a like a zip tie kind of thing, so I knew that was on it, but I just popped off, like I don't even know what I did. I popped off like this lip, and then the green thing came off, and then luckily I was able to access all my drawers. Now the code cart is labeled with what supplies are in what drawer, but when you're in like a frantic situation, you're not like reading and processing, okay, if my syringes are in here, then my needles would be in here. Like, it's nothing like that. So I knew that the first drawer typically has like your syringes and stuff like that. It was just, everything happened so fast. So yeah, I knew for the most part where all of the supplies were. My thing is, like, I knew exactly what I needed, I just didn't see it right there. Luckily I was told that there is epi already drawn up. You just have to like disconnect the 2 plastic things and then pop it off and then connect it. While I was having a difficult time popping off the plastic part for the epi. Like I said, luckily my charge nurse was there and she pops it off for me. I know how to draw up an amp of bicarb, but unfortunately I couldn't find the 60cc syringe. I randomly just grabbed like a syringe that was there, and I knew it wasn't the right one, but I'm still like trying to prep as much as I could. Come like after the fact, I was doing like my own like post code little huddle. There is already a pre-drawn bicarb in our code cart, which I didn't know that. But yeah, so it was my first time cracking up the code cart. The next thing I said, yeah, the stupid epi wouldn't open. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. Like, the fact that my attending was right next to me, just watching me struggle, rummaging through all the drawers, was just a hot mess. I said, again, I wasn't familiar with the code cart setup, grabbed the wrong syringe size to draw up bicarb. Yeah. It's actually ironic. So the previous week, I'm constantly telling like my coworkers that I trust and feel comfortable with that I want to work on this. I know what I need to improve on. I need to like focus on this or learn how to set up this, little things like that. Well, I assisted in a code and I brought it up to my coworker's attention that I don't feel confident in the code cart. So he said, the next time we have a code, let me know and we'll go through it together. Well, this was that code, and unfortunately I didn't have time to practice or go through any of the drawers. That code that he brought that up, they had already taken the old cart, so I couldn't go through anything. Now I know. The next thing I said was I anticipated something was wrong but couldn't figure out what to do. When you're the primary nurse, this goes by facility, please like read up on your protocols, your policies, your procedures. I literally we're doing CAPS this month and next month. So I did review like our procedures and the roles of a code, and when you're the primary nurse, you really should just be answering questions to the provider, having the chart open. When we were actively in the code, I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I felt like I was so out of place. I tried to grab a blood sugar and the glucometer wasn't working. So I knew for a fact that I needed to stay with the patient in the room. I just didn't really know like what to do, like what else was I responsible for. The patient was already on drip, so I was attending to the pump, and then when they announced that they needed a blood sugar check, like that's the next thing that I needed to do. The glucometer wasn't working, so I did try to delegate somebody to bring me another one, but outside of that, like I really didn't know how else to delegate. When the code had first started, luckily there was a more experienced nurse already in the room. I don't know how, but she was there, and thank God she was there. So I was the one that grabbed the code cart, and then I think I asked somebody else to like grab a medication or something like that from the Omnicell. But otherwise, like I felt like when I was delegating, I had an attitude, so I feel like I really need to be better at delegating, knowing what to anticipate during these kinds of situations. Like I said, I stood by my patient and I was there to answer questions that the providers had, and I was managing the pump, had the chart open. Other than that, in the moment, I definitely felt like I was not experienced, didn't know what was going on, didn't know how to help. But when I did do like a post-code huddle with some more experienced nurses, like they did say that you did the only thing that you could do was just stay with the patient and answer questions. The last thing that I said on this post, I said every task I focused on felt like maybe I should be prioritizing something else, and I also felt like I couldn't figure out my role. When I delegated, I felt off as an attitude. So yeah, that was how I felt. And then I sent this message to a coworker who responded to that post, and I said what I learned: if it's not your patient, watch pharmacy draw up medications, look in the drawers in the cart after a code, get familiar with the ACLS in case you record. In case you're the recorder, just get familiar with the ACLS protocol. That way, I think I say it. Get familiar with the ACLS in case you record, and you can help run it. When you record, you can announce what was given and when it was given last, and when it can be given again. If you grab the cart, make sure it's unplugged. Yes, make sure the Zoll is unplugged. And grab a stool at the same time because it helps with compressions. Ours are next to each other. The stools are right next to the code cart. Hand the backboard, and at the same time simultaneously place the defibrillator at the end of the bed. it was brought to my attention that like the Zoll was not with the patient and the board was already under the patient. Technically, you should be turning the patient, placing the back pad while you're putting the backboard. That way it's a one-time turn and you do two things at once. If it's your patient and you're feeling out of place on what to do, always delegate. Look at someone directly and tell them exactly what you need in the moment. Saying someone grab or someone do means nothing. Somebody is nobody. I heard this from a previous code. It was a provider talking to another provider who was like kind of, it was an educational moment. Somebody is nobody. I said somebody grab da 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 da, and I ended up doing it myself because I knew that nobody was going to do it. Somebody is nobody and it won't get done. Stay with your patient and don't leave the room even after everyone has roles. Titrate your drips, assess your patient constantly, listen to the MDs once they take over the code. So I hope this helps everybody. This is not to tell you how to run a code. This is just my experience, what I learned. And please don't be hard on yourself. Inshallah, you will improve on your skills. And yeah, just make mental notes of what it is that you can improve on and make sure that you just have the best interest of your patient. So hope this helps. If you have any questions, please comment down below.